big Harvard Business Review study 2 years ago they spent a lot of time and energy on it. Is it a poor plan or is it a poor execution? The reality is there is no egg and chicken. It's the same thing. Execution is part of your plan. Part of your plan includes execution. If you have a great plan that you buy into, but you don't buy into the execution of it, which is the action items, we're done. So when we look at this thing, we look at goals for a moment. Goals are relatively easy, long-term, short-term, and daily goals. You've heard everyone talk about it. It's actually proven that just having long-term goals is a demotivator. Either you do it or you don't do it. It's 100% or not. Only having long-term goals actually erodes some of your self-esteem. You need to, whatever it's worth on your notes, you need to have daily goals. Daily goals. Daily goals. Your brain is geared, your noggin inside your head is geared to like success. It's like pleasure. It doesn't want pain, it wants instant gratification. So while you're changing, you can't say, I'm going to get to where that speaker is from here. What you need to do is, I'm going to the speaker, I will be at the speaker, but today I have to focus in on this. And a lot of what Tom was talking about is mirroring some of the stuff that we're talking about now. You got to look up, but you got to look down. Along with your goals, you got to have plans. And with those plans, when you start creating your plans, you have to build it. Of course, that's logical. And with your building it, you have to track it, and then you got to fine-tune and edit it. Here's something else I'd like to write down in your notes if you can, to get mini wins. Again, it goes back to the same couple fundamental things. What's your tipping point? What are your mini wins to create your ideal self? Here's a one-liner you may want to write down. You train to improve ratios. Train to improve ratios. It creates wins. Why do esoteric stuff if I don't understand how I'm going to win from it? Wins. You train to change ratios. Then all the money comes into the next pod, which is action steps. Action steps is discipline, vitality, and guts. Vitality, I'm sure you've read all this stuff before, but you realize that inside your body, if you have too much acidic going through you, that you are actually 70% negative. You view negative thoughts. You're more susceptible to negative thoughts. Shocking. Yet, we also have goals, guts and discipline. Guts is absolutely important. You got to have some courage to do this stuff. You ever see the movie, who's the guy from Born Identity? He bought a farm. What the hell's the name of that movie? Bought a zoo. Bought a zoo. He had a story with his son talking about his wife. And during that course of that story, he said, if you love someone, and take that part in and part out, doesn't make a difference. He goes, you need 20 seconds of amazing courage to change who you are. Just 20 seconds. So here's something you may want to write down in your notes. If it fits for you, you don't have to be courageous all the time. You just got to be courageous at the right time. Just 20 seconds, 3-4 times a day, that's it. Just a little push. And then the other thing that's interesting is if you just have guts without discipline, you actually create comfort zones. If your back's against the wall and you need to, you will. I need to prospect. I need to get more in my funnel. I will do the activity. The second I get more in my funnel, what happens to my guts? It disappears. So discipline is key, and that's why Sandler would always tell you, do a little bit all the time, not a lot some of the time. Now, when we look at all this stuff, one of the things that I find with people when they do goal setting is they are not committed to what they put down. You created the plan. You created the action steps. You got to sit back after you do it, look at it and say, am I going to fully commit to the actions I have to do to get this thing done? It's a choice. And if you choose to do it, get in the game. If you don't choose to do it, go sit on the sideline. That's fine. But don't get in the game and then watch the game from inside the field. Doesn't work. Any of you teach your kids how to play sports? Any of you? Right? Any of you coaching? Right? Isn't it interesting that when you bring out the young kids and they go out to play and they're having a great time, whatever their age is, and there's little Billy, he's running around. No disrespect to anyone whose little kid's name's Billy. But, right, Billy's running around, but Billy's on the field watching stuff, and the game's going on around him. He's actually playing, but he's not in the game. So how many of us, when we go to work, we're there, but we're actually not in the game? So it's a full participation. Now with that is, I find a lot of people will choose not to fully participate because they don't understand the difference between needs and wants. How many of us now, we can actually sit back and say, I am willing to do whatever it takes, legally, morally, and ethically, to achieve that objective, that goal. I want it really, really bad.